everybody. On this episode, I'm going to show you guys how I make DIY dragging weights. You all know I love going out dragging. It's one of my favorite ways to go after the cats. If you guys enjoy this episode, please hit that like and subscribe. Comment down below. Tell me what you guys think. I really appreciate it. Thank you. Items you're going to need: 3/8 by 1/2 inch by 10 foot vinyl tubing. I get this at Menards. They cost about $4. Very, very cheap. Some twist-on wire connectors. These things cost like $1.69 at Menards. Some 15/16 screw eyes. They're like 80 some cents at Menards. Everything's very cheap. Some barrel swivels. I got some Eagle Claw here. I think they were like at Walmart for like $1.50, $1.60, somewhere around there. It wasn't very much. Also a basic locking clip. So what we'll use. You can get a whole bag of these from Amazon for like $3 for 50. Really cheap. This is the most expensive thing that I bought for this whole project. It is a Super Weld Extreme. It's $5.50. And then some foam pipe covers. I got these during the summer when they're really, really cheap compared to the winter. Winter, they could cost you about triple the price they will during the summer. And they cost me like, I think it was about $5 at that time, $4.50, $5. And these really, really come in handy because they're already split down and they're thinner than pool noodles. If you get those pool noodles, they're cheap, but they're a lot thicker. And these things are the perfect size for what we're going to be doing. And the final item needed, BBs. You can get BBs at Walmart for like $1. Very cheap. Get 350 count. And that's your weights for inside of them. Weigh it down. Plus they make a nice little rattle. It's the best part about them. First we're going to grab our hose and we're going to measure it down into 2-foot sections. This is a 10-foot hose. So afterwards we'll have 5 dragging weights that we can make out of this. Very handy. Take it. We're going to get it all stretched out. We'll get this tag off. We're gonna grab a measuring tape. I got this basic one here. It measures out to 25 inches. So the nice thing about it is I don't have a whole tape to deal with. Just that. Measure across. So I can just get it to go. And we'll hold down there. That was pretty close to where it was. We're just gonna make a basic mark right around where it was. Toss that to the side. I'm gonna just cut it. We'll take the tube afterwards. We'll just run it down so you don't have to measure with the tape measure each time. And afterwards, you'll approximately have 2 foot on each one of them. After you get your hose all cut, You're gonna need a pair of pliers and a pair of needle nose pliers. And you're gonna grab your screw eyes. Your screw eyes, you're gonna put on your plier there, and you're gonna bend that out. Just so that you can get your barrel swivel in. Oop. Once you get your barrel swivel in, you're just gonna squeeze it back over. And that's how to keep the barrel swivel in on the screw eye. After you get your barrel swivels and your eye screws all connected together, we're gonna take our connectors, our glue, and we're just gonna add a little bit of glue down on the bottom of them. And you're gonna put it in, but only do one on one end. And I like to kind of work it around the glue and everything so it doesn't all just bunch up at the top. You get more of it in there as possible. And then we'll just kind of force it in the rest of the way. Any little bit of extra glue you have, you can take like a piece of paper or whatever and just kind of clean it up around it. Just remove some of that excess. Make sure you get it pretty thorough though all the way around so that it makes a good seal. Another thing I like to use but isn't necessary is a heat gun, just to kind of get that glue to set a little bit quicker. This isn't necessary. You can just let it dry on its own, but it's something I like to use though, just to get to go a little bit quicker. Next thing I like to do is grab my pipe foam. I like to cut it down to whatever length of foam I want to add into the tube. I like to add this foam just to have that dragging weight where it'll float up. And when it's going through the water. So you can cut and get as much float as you want. I usually go about 7 to 8 inches. I don't even measure on this part. I just cut where I think it's roughly about that. Once you get yours cut to about that length, I like to cut them in half. And then I'm going to cut them down to about 1/4 inch. This is that perfect size that fits right down in the tube just fine. Once you get your foam all cut to the length you want and then down to 1/4, you're gonna make sure that you got a good fit, that it's gonna go in pretty nice and smooth and easy. And if it doesn't, and you gotta shape it down a little bit more, cut a little bit more away, go ahead and do that until it just slides right in there smoothly. If you still have difficulty getting it into the tube though, sometimes they'll bind up, doesn't want to go in smoothly even after it's shaved down as smoothly as you would like. Go ahead and grab like a wire or whatever you have that can get it to go down in. I took a piece of clothes hanger and cut it to length. That'll work for me, and just kind of work it in there. That's usually one of the best things that's always worked for me in the past, just to get them in there. And they'll usually bind up just a little bit, but not too much. Once you got it in, it should work out fine. Now that you have your foam piece exactly where you want it, and it's going to be able to go in smoothly, we're going to grab our BBs and we're going to get our BBs in first. We'll put the foam in afterwards. I like to just pour them in. They'll usually go into the tube pretty smoothly. You can grab a funnel if you want, but I don't necessarily need it, and you probably wouldn't either. Just pour them in slowly, work them down. They'll usually go down pretty good for you. I usually go about 3 to 4 ounces, is my desired BBs in there, but you can pour up to 5 if that's what you guys prefer. But just pour them down in. Go about halfway down is usually a pretty good amount. That's usually about 3 to 4 ounces. Just make sure that they kind of get in and they work down there. And then you'll put your foam up in the top part there again after you have your desired amount down in. Now that you have your desired amount of BBs in there, you're going to take your foam, you're going to work it back down in there. Just ease it in, it should slide in just fine. After you got your foam back in there, kind of work it, get it down just a little bit further in there. And then we're going to go about grabbing our other orange cap. Take your glue, and you're going to glue around it really good. But we're going to glue right on the tip as well, so that that foam will stick to the end of the tip and not want to go down further into that tube. We want to keep a little bit of spacing in between there, but we want to keep that foam up at top. Just glue all the way around it, just like you did the bottom piece. And then we'll put it in there, shove it down in pretty good. Make sure that, you know, that glue is worked around all along the sides of it as well, just like you did the bottom. But make sure that it touches that foam and keeps it up there. Now that you got that in there, just kind of force it down, clean up around it, grab your paper or whatever else you guys use. I just usually grab like a piece of paper. I definitely do not want to grab like paper towel or anything like that, because that'll start to bead off. Then I'd take my heat gun, just kind of work it a little bit, try to get that glue to go and dry up a little bit quicker, but for the most part you should be good. Once you got that glue all heated up, it'll be a little bit white, showing where it's kind of dried there. Just make sure that it's on there pretty good and solid. Once you got your end cap in there and it's secured really good, we're going to grab our screw eyes with the swivel already on it. We're going to add a little bit of glue right on the screw. I like to add the glue onto that screw just so it goes down into those threads inside there pretty good. Get it all glued up, work it back and forth. Just get a good amount on it. Then we'll line it up. I always like to add a little bit of glue on that top inside there too. Just fill it up just a little bit, just so you have that extra. But we're also going to work it down so that the eye is completely closed up once you get it in there too. And just go about screwing it in. Make sure that that swivel stays up though. You don't want that swivel to go down into that glue. Just keep it up, screw it in there. Work it down until it's very tight. It ain't gonna pull out easily. Once you got it up, just add just a little bit more glue on that top end. Make sure everything's closed up on the top as well. I like to fill those caps, you know, pretty good. Once that's all done, we'll close up our glue, set that to the side. And now I'll grab my heat gun and just really kind of heat up that whole top area. Make sure everything is well sealed up. Again, you don't have to have the gun for this, but it is a nice little advantage to get that glue to dry quicker, not worry about it running out anywhere. And yeah, they will smoke a little bit afterwards, but that's also the glue just really kind of sealing up too at that point. And that's really all it is. That's once you get that all glued up, then we'll grab our clip, put our clip in on it. And these are always fun to get open sometimes, especially when you're trying to hold everything else. Slide it in, get it up and on that swivel. And you're going to lock everything back up after that. you have a dragon weight. After they're all done on that, hang them up to get that coil out of them, and you're good to go. All right, everybody, I hope you guys really enjoyed this. Making your own dragon weights can save you a lot of money. If you guys have ever made dragon weights in the past yourselves, please comment down below. Tell me things you guys have done or things that you guys would have done different. I really appreciate it. Please hit that like and subscribe if you guys did. Thank you.